I am God. The title of this video is Off with Your Head. So I watched the film The Green Knight again. So I've watched it a few times now. It's an interesting story. It's a very interesting story. I've made a lot of videos and I've spoken about who I am and what the world is doing. The world is always mimicking me. And it has to do with magic and shit magic and shit demons. It's mimicry. It's about trying to steal manifesting power from me. It's witchcraft. This is what I'm explaining. That is what witchcraft is. Witchcraft, all it is trying to absorb my power. I'm God. Witchcraft is people trying to take my power through magic. Now, you have to actually understand magic in order to know what that means, really. And I've explained that for hundreds of hours. So allow me to continue. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's start with the film, The Green Knight. Obviously, it's an old story, isn't it? Apparently it was written around the 1400s. And it was, the source is anonymous. It's interesting that, isn't it? Anonymous. Was he a hacker, do you reckon? Or maybe just like, well, you like seeing you like to write stories about people getting their heads hacked, though. But anyway, strange that. So, it's a very interesting story. It's like, and that's the thing, it talks about witchcraft. And it is art is witchcraft. Everything in this world has a type of magic to it, okay? And stories are magic. Movies are magic. Music is magic. Understanding how that's magic, well, I've explained it all before. I've spoken about it a lot. But let me continue, okay? So it's a very interesting story because, so it has, it starts off with, what's his name? Sir Gawain. Gawain. What's that? What's that Scottish saying? Because I'm Scottish, right? And Scottish people, they go, Galway with you, or whatever it is. I've heard that a lot of times. Galway. Anyway, whatever, right? I mean, I was born in Scotland. Scottish family. Anyways. So, the story, it starts with Gawain. He's like the nephew of the king or something, right? And his mother, she seems to be involved in some, like, witchcraft. She's doing some crazy witchcraft, right? And isn't it interesting, like the king, he talks about Jesus, and then and God, and they've got, pictures of Mary, they talk about Mary, she's not God, she wants to be God. People made a mistake worshipping her. But anyway. So, there's always this mixing of, worshipping, me, God, Jesus, and Mary, and witchcraft, and the world. The king's wearing his pentagram and all that stuff, right? Yeah, and Gawain's mum is doing witchcraft and all that sort of shit. But anyway, let's continue, shall we? So, Gawain's like this, he's the nephew of the king. He's never done anything really important. He's not a knight. He's just basically just unimportant, really, isn't he? he hasn't really accomplished much. You know, that's the sense that that you get from the story. You know, he's just a guy who likes to drink and shag, and he's part of the royal household, I suppose, right? But anyways, it's like, the story is that Christmas Day, there's the Green Knight, he comes in, the king's like, does anyone have like a story or a tale, for entertainment purposes, right? Or something like that. And then the Green Knight comes in, right? And Gawain, he challenged, there's this game that they have between Gawain and the Green Knight. The Green Knight, he's offering this game. He's like, anyone who can land a blow against me, he can, he will gain like fortunes and money and stuff like that. Although you never really see that in the film. I don't really get that bit. It was like, well, he didn't exactly give him like a giant bag of money or anything. I don't remember that bit. But anyways, he said something about fortune and money and stuff. But he was like, but a year later, that person would have to have that blow returned, basically. I was thinking to myself, why didn't you just go up to him and just go, just blow in his face and be like, there you go, give us your money. I mean, this thing is, it's word magic. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. Anyway, look, I mean, I know that sounds a bit ridiculous, but it's the language, right? This is what I'm trying to point out. So, and it's interesting, isn't it? So, unimportant Gawain, he picks up the sword. The king gives him the sword. The king, everyone wants, the king and his sister, the mother of Gawain, they wanted him to be in this, this game, like this is his thing, the thing that's gonna make him feel important or some shit, be a part of something. And anyway, so, the Green Knight basically offers his head. He's basically just like, he implies, he sort of turns his head to Gawain, to suggest to him, like, to cut his head off. And Gawain's, he's happy enough to just get on with it. He's just like, yeah, okay, then I'll just cut your head off. And he does. Yeah? And so, it's an interesting story, isn't it? The Green Knight, he picks up his head, and he's still alive, and he's this big, he's like this tree man, isn't he? He's this big tree man. I mean, you could think of it in different ways. Who does the tree man, who does the Green Knight represent? Well, you could say it's that, the tree man represents God. I mean, I'm God, I'm Father. Okay, so, I created everything and everybody. So, in that sense, I am the tree man. Yeah? And it's the thing, right? I was Jesus. I led the example for people, didn't I? So, and that's the thing, right? So, if you're going to... I mean, it's the thing, I was Jesus, and I told others to follow my example, to be like me. I mean, not to steal my identity. I suppose I didn't tell people to steal my identity or anything like that, but that, what people do is they try to steal my identity. That's what they do. There are people, there are a lot of people, man and woman, they want to be God. They want to be me. And that is, if you steal someone's identity, well, in a sense, you are cutting their head off. And that's, that's what's really interesting about the story. And so, the Green Knight, he goes off carrying his head, saying he's going to see Gawain a year later. And obviously Gawain has to go on that adventure to go see the Green Knight later on. Now, what's interesting, so there's so many ways I can look at this and talk about this. But, the idea of off with your head. Well, that's the thing, if you were in the same room as me and you decided to go off somewhere, well, you're going off somewhere with your head. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're off with your head. You're off somewhere. You've gone somewhere. You've gone somewhere else, right? I don't have any human beings around me. There are no flesh bodies that, I don't socialize with anybody except the spirits that love me. Okay. But but otherwise, everyone is off. They're somewhere else, and that's the other thing, right? If you're someone who's switched on, right? You got a good head on your shoulders. Do you know what I mean? If you're a stupid person, right? If you don't understand anything, right? If you're just blind to the truth, you don't see the truth, you don't know what the truth is, then you're considered someone whose brain is off. You've got a head which is off. Yeah. So, that's the thing. People want to switch off their brains, don't they? They want to switch off their brains. So, in that sense, off with your head. Your head switched off. You understand? It's like, do you know what I mean? Like a light switch, you can switch it on and off, right? Off with your head. That's the thing, right? So in the book of Revelation, okay, so chapter 20, book of Revelation. What does it say here? Okay, so chapter 20, verse 4. I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony about Jesus and because of the word of God. So this is the thing. See, language is it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword in a sense, because that's the thing. People cheat using word magic. They don't do what they're supposed to do, but they do word magic. Okay, they cheat. Okay, they cheat through magic. That could be like sex magic. With knots. You know what a knot is? What's a knot? What's a knot? What does knot mean? There are two words they're pronounced exactly the same. Knot. What does that mean? If I tied rope around you and then I said you don't exist, you do not exist. Yeah? Imagine that. And you became invisible because they tied a knot around you. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of witchcraft that demons are trying to do to me. That's the world. That's what the world does. The world is full of the world are those are people, shit demons, who believe lies. I'm telling you the truth, but when I go to bed at night, I have to lie on my bed. Does that make me a liar? I'm trying to make the point. Babel is a serious problem. And I'm not talking about the stars called Sirius, A and B, right? I'm not talking about that either. Why so serious? Witchcraft. I hate it. I'm so tired of it. I really am. It says here, they had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on their foreheads or their hands. I mean, this is the thing, right? What's this? You see this? This is a forehead. This is my forehead. But how many heads do I have? Do I have 4 heads or do I have 1 head? Do you know what I mean? How many eyes do I have? Do you know what I mean? Like, you see how shit gets really confusing when you really look at language. Because that's the thing, you know, humans interpret the language the way they think it should be interpreted. Okay? It makes sense, man. You know, I told people, do not lean on your own understanding. Isn't that interesting? So everyone wants to do bondage anal sex and stuff. So do not lean on your own understanding. And what do people do? They do not lean. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Why do people do the shit that they do? Why do they do that, do you reckon? I am the light of the world. People want to steal it. So this is the thing, okay? So, you know, it talks about here the saints, you know, the martyrs, you know, there are those who were beheaded. You know, like John the Baptist, he was beheaded, wasn't he? And others too, okay? There are people who literally had their heads cut off. But people, what the world likes to do, it likes to switch its brain off and walk around. So they're off, they're walking around the world with their head switched off. Yeah, you know, and the shit demons, you know, it's all about, it's a game of pretend. It's a game of, oh yeah, they're the martyrs because they switched their brains off. You know, that's kind of what this is about. I know it's hard to understand that, but that's what magic is. That's what's really happening in this world, is the people who are of the world, they absorb power through shit like that. That's how they do it. You know, they listen to the demons. And that's what the world, the shit demons, they all conspire to do that. It's all about trying to steal power through word magic and sex magic and divinate, you know, tarot cards and arts and music, literature, etc. Okay. So, I mean, you know, to go back to the film, The Green Knight, I've never read the book, but the film I have watched a few times now. So, yeah, it's an interesting story. So, it's interesting, isn't it? Because so he had his head cut off, and then he has to go on this journey to go see the Green Knight. Gawain's on his journey to go see the Green Knight. And the idea you sort of get when he's on that journey is that he's lost his mind. Do you know what I mean? He's lost his mind. He's seeing ghosts. He's having all sorts of weird visions. You know, as a talking fox. He goes to a house. You know, there's a house he goes to, and then he sees a spirit, and she says her head is at the bottom of the spring. You know, the water spring. And he goes in and gets it, and then he goes back into the house, and he finds the dead body, and his axe is there. You know what I mean? It's like his. Do you know what I mean? His you know, and he sees giants, and he sees, you know, he sees his like girlfriend or whatever, his mistress, in another house. You know, there's like 2 of her. It's the same actress playing. Do you know what I mean? But she's in another house, and she looks, you know, prettier. She's got nicer hair and nicer clothes. There's the talking fox. So, you know, it really looks like he's lost his mind. It's like his head was already cut off. You understand? So it's a very, you know, it's witchcraft is what it is. You know what, I'm trying to explain, you know, that's the thing. Literature is, everything is magic in some sense. People don't actually realize it. That's the thing. Everything has magical properties to it. Everything. Understanding how magic functions, it's hard. Yeah, I mean it's complicated. It is complicated. So what did I really want to say in this video? Yeah, I mean, yeah, so Gawain, he goes to see the Green Knight, and, you know, he's terrified of getting his head cut off. You know, there was that woman who gave him that you know, that piece of, I don't know what it was, like some sort of scarf or cloth, like some sort of thing that he tied around his waist. You know, it was supposed to protect him from any, you know, injury or whatever. And he ends up taking it off. And the very last thing that the Green Knight says to him, he goes, you know, he takes off that, well, Gawain takes off that piece of cloth, and he says, okay, I'm ready now. And the Green Knight can, you know, sort of, yeah, he sort of recognizes that he's ready to have his head cut off. And he's like, okay, then, now off with your head. So what did he mean when he said, now off with your head? Did he mean that he was about to cut his head off? Or did he mean, you can go now and take your head with you? Do you know what I mean? Like, which one did he mean? You see how it's, you know, which way was it? That's the tricky thing about language. How do you interpret it? I mean, you know, if I go off for a walk, yeah, if I go out of my house, I go off for a walk. Yeah, I take my head with me. You know, so I'm off with my head. Yeah. And that's the other thing, right? You know, the word of, O-F, you know, is it really that different from the word of? Of or off? See, the reason why the world... So, I mean, look, you know, the story about the Tower of Babel. And the Tower of Babel was all about... It's humans. They design language. And they do witchcraft in order to build a tower to heaven. Basically, it's trying to get to it's trying to steal what is mine. Okay? The story about Adam and Eve and the forbidden fruit. It's the same idea. It's you know, they wanted, you know, what they were doing was they were trying to take what is mine. They're trying to take what is mine. They're trying to steal my identity. I'm God. I'm the creator. And humans want to steal that identity from me. In other words, they keep trying to cut my head off. Trying to take what is mine. You see, because people are... That's the thing, okay? You know, because the story about Gawain, he's unimportant. You know, he feels he's unimportant. You know, he likes to get drunk and have sex, and enjoys, you know, the fact that, you know, he's the nephew of the king. You know, he's got it pretty good for himself, but he's He's never done anything important, really. He compares himself to the knights who fight for the king. They go to battle. They fight for the kingdom. They protect the kingdom. But what does Gawain do? He just drinks and has sex. He feels like an unimportant cunt. You understand? And so he's tempted. The Green Knight comes to him and he's like, well, he's offering riches and money and fortune. All Gawain has to do is chop his head off, land a blow on him, and he's happy just to cut his head off. But when it's the other way around, and he really doesn't want to have his head cut off. He's being a coward about it. He's afraid to have his head cut off. He was happy to cut off the Green Knight's head, but I mean, this is the thing, right? So I'm God. The situation is this, right? So I'm God, and I want my justice, and my justice, it's money, it's fame, it's fortune, it's sex, it's all those things. What does the average guy want? If he the average guy in this world, what would he want? He'd want lots of money, lots of nice houses, cars, hot women, all that stuff. That's what the average man wants. Well, this is the thing, okay? I'm basically the Green Knight. I'm here to collect. I'm here to chop the heads off and say, hey, I'll take what's yours. I like what, that's the thing, right? I'm the creator. I'm God. I created the universe. I created everybody. People keep trying to cut my head off and take my identity. Okay, and so that's why people are here. That's why people are in a fallen state. That's why the world is the way it is. People people had to learn. People were supposed to learn. And I gave people a chance. Okay, people had options. Okay, I tried to build a relationship with people. Okay, I died on the cross for people. Okay, I took the sins of the world on myself. Went to the cross. I died loving people. Okay, showing the world forgiveness. Okay, but this time is different. Okay, now I want my justice. Okay, I mean, this is the thing. Man, the average man wants nothing to do with me. He doesn't love me. He wants all those things. He wants material stuff. He wants worldly things, doesn't he? He wants all that stuff. Money, fame, fortune, sex, status. And my justice, I'm God. My justice is to take that and say, no, man, that's mine. You're not getting that. That's for me. I'm taking that, asshole. You're not getting it. It's for me. I made it all anyway. So what are you talking about? So this is so the Green Knight story. It's a very interesting story. So hopefully you can see there's hopefully you understand the comparison I'm making. Okay. Anyways, let me have some. I mean, that's the other thing as well, because, there's the talk about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and the fourth horseman, yeah, because that's the thing, there's 4 horsemen, and the last one, he is the 4th horseman, and he's called Death, yeah, and I'm a Scorpio, okay, I'm associated with the Death card in tarot, and so, that's important. And that's the thing, people talk about, the horse being a pale horse. And some people translate it as a pale green horse. I'm not sure where the green comes from. But there are a lot of people who say that the horse is pale green. So, yeah. And this is the thing, we're living in society now where everyone wants to go green. What the fuck does that mean? People talk about the environment. So the environment, you think green, you think of the environment. But then also, people who love money think, they see money as green as well. And also, a pail. Well, a pail is another word for a bucket. And what a whore is, right? A whore or a horse. So a whore who's a bucket. Maybe she smokes a lot of weed, or maybe she's like an environmentalist or something. Blah de blah, right? So this is the thing, people are constantly, they're trying to pull on that energy. They're trying to get it's about trying to steal my power. People want to be, they want to stand close to they want to, the easiest way, try to imagine, right? You're standing and, there's a circle of people around you, and they all have their backs turned to you, and they pretend like you're not there. They pretend they are the center of the universe, and they're hiding you. They hide, that's what they do to me. I'm literally the center of everything, right? Basically, I am the center of. I should be. That's the thing. That's what I'm supposed to. I'm God. So, but people want to get close to me and turn their backs to me and pretend like I don't exist, and they want to steal my light. They want to pretend that they are the center of everything. That's the easiest way. That's that's one way of me. That's one way I can explain it. Okay. Kind of, like the sun is at the center of the solar system. Yeah, I'm God. Okay, I am the light of the world. Okay, so in that sense, I'm like the sun. Okay, and people want to be as close to me as possible and pretend that they are me, and they want to steal what belongs to me. People are supposed to love me, but people don't love me. They love other people who are pretending to be me. In other words, they're the ones who have cut my head off. They've stolen my identity because they're evil. And I see it every day. I see it everywhere. There are people all over the place. In fact, it's almost guaranteed everyone I look at is the same. It seems to be the same everywhere I look. People they in some sense they think they're me. They mimic me in so many different ways. That's the thing about Revelation chapter 20. What does it say again? It says, I saw those sitting on the throne. There were the people who were sitting on the throne. Yeah, let's read it again. I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony about Jesus and because of the word of God. I mean, it's the thing, we live in a world which is very judgmental. People are constantly judging people. Judge. The world is constantly judging me. And that's the thing. I am the one who's supposed to be judging. Let me say it again to you, okay? The world keeps judging me. But it isn't me. Do you understand? See, that's the thing. The words, you interpret that sentence. So if I say the world keeps judging me, what does that mean? What does that really mean? The world keeps judging me. What does that mean? Is the world keeping me? Or is it the world keeps, it's constantly saying nasty things about me, talking shit about me, or what? That's the thing. I'm God. I am supposed to be judging. I'm God. It's what I'm supposed to do. I'm God. I have the authority to do that, obviously. But people want to judge me because they want to steal. They want to pretend. It's word magic. It's trying to pretend to be me. They're pretending to be me. And they're not me. So yeah, I mean, you should be aware. So, I was Jesus. I said to people that the laws of Moses, there was a problem with the law, the fact that they were written commandments, right? So people were cheating through word magic. They weren't following the spirit of the law. They were cheating through word magic. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's like, look at the word no. What does that mean? You need to know, if I say to you, you need to know the truth. What does that mean? Like, what's the word no mean? No. No is the opposite of yes. And no is also this. To think something, to understand something. Yeah. That's a very simple explanation. Anyways, another example is that, that's the thing. People who are sinners, who don't love me, well, they owe me, don't they? They owe me. They have to pay for their sins. What does it mean to owe somebody? If you owe someone money, for instance, then they owe you. But this is the thing, people, that's the thing, I'm the Holy Spirit. What's a whole? Well, a whole looks like an O, doesn't it? You see how the world has confused everything? See, the world, what it's done is it's tried to create escape routes for itself. So when I come down here, like now, I'll come down to the judge of the world. And the world wants to create all kinds of escape routes that it can go away with. So every time I try to, grab hold of the world and say, hey, you're being judged. The world wants to escape this way or that way, using shit demons and shit magic and sex magic and mimicry and witchcraft. And, it's constantly trying to create escape routes for itself. And I have to shut it all down. That's what I have to do. The world keeps trying to fight me. That's what the world does. The world wants to fight me. Another example is, well, that's the thing, YouTube. Okay, here's an example. YouTube. Okay, so what does YouTube mean? Well, you can mean female sheep. Okay, my mum was called Fee, for instance. Okay, she was called Fee, Fiona. I'm male. Okay, and then tube. Well, you know what a tube looks like? Like a colon. The intestines. It looks like it looks like a snake. It looks like a tube. Yeah, but you could read it as you to be. And that's the thing. I'm the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's number 2. So you to be, and everybody wants to be. All these people, they want to be on U2B, YouTube. They want to be a star on YouTube. Yeah, anal sex magic. That's the thing. The butthole. It looks like an O. It looks like a star. People are attracted to it. They're like, wow, it's so shiny. It's the sunshine of their lives. I was like, wow, better get the KY jelly then. The key jelly. The key jelly. Yeah. I am a jealous God. Why do people suffer from jealousy so much, do you think? It's so easy to write off what I'm saying as ridiculous, isn't it? That's the thing. That's what the world does. The world hears what I say, and they go, no, that's ridiculous. Won't listen to that. Don't care. Quite honestly, I don't care if people believe me or not. I would prefer people believe me, but really what I want more than anything is justice. I want to stop people from doing what they're doing. I don't care if they like it or not. Do you know what I mean? If people love me, well, that's great. I love them too. But the fact is that I see a world full of people who hate me and who refuse to change. I don't care. I'm not going to allow that to continue. I will put a stop to it. I have to. I have to. Anyways, that's enough for this video.